Hello, and welcome to another Behind the Scenes with VictorEric. In this edition, we'll take a close look at net zero, all the intricacies, and a quick walkthrough at one of our projects at West Vancouver. Let's take a look.
Some of our clients did say that they were interested in net zero, and this is a net zero house that we're building. And before they wrap it all up, we thought, hey, let's get whoever's interested in just for a small private tour and tell you guys a little bit about net zero, answer any questions that you may have. So what we'll do is we'll talk first about what's the difference between net zero and a standard code build. What we'll do is we'll talk about what's the difference between a standard house and a net zero house in terms of design, what to watch out for if you guys are thinking about design in the future, and also construction. There's a big difference also in construction. So yeah, why don't you want to start off with design?
Design, so no change as far as the building permit application goes. Of course, there's an extra, with the design, there's added consultants that are required to help us out into achieving the net zero. There's a lot of coordination involved with the consultant, particularly with the energy advisor. So, of all the step code actually requirements, minimum or mandatory is the energy consultant. So energy consultant is who determine or put into writing that the house actually meets the code requirement, either the prescriptive or the step code, which is the higher requirement. And I think the key thing for design is to ensure that the house, a net zero house, produces as much energy as it consumes.
Yeah. So that's the overall definition of net zero for those that don't understand. Basically, you're trying to generate as much energy within the site as you do being used. Now that's not a day-to-day calculation, it's not a week-to-week or month-to-month, it's the whole year. So they take the whole year. So for instance, summertime may be more used because of the AC, but then, or wintertime may be more because of the heat. As long as you can generate enough with solar panel and all that stuff to offset the annual usage, then you're good.
I want to add one thing about the exclusions. So, of course, like the thicker the walls, the lesser the space that we're getting. It's different in every municipalities, but they do provide exclusions, which means like, okay, if you build your home to net zero or the passive house certification, then will allow you an extra X percentage. Yeah. To build. Like you can actually make your home footprint slightly bigger. It's not mandatory, but for net zero, it's recommended to have a building envelope engineer. So the building envelope engineer actually looks after all the construction detail work of the house, where you would find the membrane, the proper use of membrane, and all the connections, just to make sure that there's no thermal bridging happening in the house. Thermal bridging is when that there's actually a bridge or gap in the conduction, which means like if you have, for example, like this deck, they have to make sure that deck, the connection to the main house, is thermally broken. If it's connected, then that's where we have the thermal bridge, and that's where we lose all the heat. Right. So the energy advisor and the building envelope engineer actually takes care of it.
Yeah. Now in West Van though, it is mandatory to have a building envelope engineer. So cities are getting more and more on board as the houses get more and more difficult. See, every city is pushing us to go higher and higher. So there's something called the step code. Right now, I think every city should be at step 3, right?
Yes, that's the minimum.
So step 3 is the minimum now. And there's incentives in most cities to go step 4, step 5, and net zero. But it is the future. Every city is going to be pushing for it. You'll hear a lot about it. So I figure let's share before we close it all up. Okay, so if you are interested in doing net zero home, my recommendation would be to get a team together that coordinates well. Because these high performance homes, you can't just do it after the fact anymore. The old way of building and designing as you go doesn't quite work. Because like for one, you have to get certified. So all your details, what you're specifying, will affect your score to make it meet net zero or not. So you can't just say, okay, my framer will make up the assembly for me. No, you can't do that. You have to plan ahead. The energy advisor has to calculate based on that wall assembly, that installation that you're suggesting, will it need it? And then City Hall needs that.
If you liked this content and are looking for more, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. See you next time.